Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from T&J, and we are finally here to the offseason after winning the Super Bowl. And I want to clear something up. When I first said what should we do next, I guess I didn't finish my statement there, because I was saying that I wanted to finish this season and going into the third season. You know, I want to talk beyond the third season. So I'm definitely going to finish this year, and I'm leaning towards doing this long term, because you'll see the slider adjustments I'm making just to make it more difficult, and you'll see the decisions I make in this offseason. So just looking at the season stats, you can look at the running backs here. All of them had a good year. I mean, if you look at Chris Thompson, Gallman, and Geis, they kind of split it up here. Geis actually couldn't stay healthy. I'm thinking about moving Geis, to be honest. Later in this video, we'll check it out. We'll see. But looking at the rest of our guys, Alex Brown had a decent year. He had 7 touchdowns as the 4th-string running back, which is pretty good. Samaje Perine had 2 touchdowns. And looking at even at Joshua Dobbs, he had 266 yards on the ground. Looking at the receivers here, our first 1,000-yard receiver in Jamison Crowder, only 4 touchdowns, probably because we only threw 12 touchdowns total in the regular season. They do not have a playoff stat view here, which I'm kind of bummed about. I wish I could see the stats in the playoffs. But looking at the rest of our receivers, Josh Doctson is going to be a free agent. Jordan Reed, I believe, has a year or 2 left on his contract. I'm not really sure. I'll check it out later. Chris Thompson had a good receiving year. Vernon Davis is likely going to retire. Paul Richardson actually had 541 yards, only played 5 games in the regular season, so he was definitely killing. So looking at our offensive line really quick, you know, I just want to look at a couple of guys, because Trent Williams and Trent Brown actually gave up the most sacks, and that's mainly because, you know, rolling outside the pocket, taking a lot of sacks there. Brandon Sheriff, Pro Bowler, but a guy I want to replace here is Chase Roulier. He is our center. He didn't give up a lot of sacks, don't get me wrong, but, you know, running the ball definitely could have been better up the middle, and that relies solely on the guards and center. And I just saw time after time Chase Roulier was giving up a lot of block sheds in the middle of the field, along with Ramon Foster. And then the one guy that, you know, I want to give some more playing to in year 2 is Rory Stair. Remember, he took over for Ramon Foster in the playoffs because Ramon Foster did get hurt, and he did wonders. He didn't give up, I think he gave up 1 sack in the playoffs. And I mean, look at his ratings. I mean, it's not overly impressive. 73 run block, 62 pass block, but look at his run block power, run pass block finesse, and lead block. I mean, that's all really good, and I think I can progress him quite a bit as he's just going into his 2nd year. So looking at the defense here, this is where we shine. Zach Brown led our team in tackles, 109 total tackles. Monte Nicholson had 91 at the free safety position. Fabian Morrow had 90 tackles. I mean, how do you have that many tackles as a corner? As Troy Apke also broke out in this year. He's definitely our starter going forward. But just going down the line here and just looking at our lead tackle getters, you can just see like how many guys actually had really good seasons, as even Tyshawn Woodley had a decent season and he barely even played. So looking at our leading sack getters here, Deron Payne had 7.5, up from 7 last season. Ryan Kerrigan 6.5, Zach Brown 5.5. JJ Marble, the rookie, actually had 5, and I expect that number to double come next year. But going down the line, you can just see all the rest of the guys here. So looking at the interception leaders here, DJ Springer had 6. He's definitely our MVP. I think he had 2 forced fumbles, but I feel like he had 1 here, but I feel like he had more than that. Maybe he just didn't get credit for it, but he had a lot of tackles on 3rd downs and a lot of big plays that can't show up on the stat sheet. And looking at Zach Brown, he had 5 interceptions, down from 10 last year. Fabian Morrow had 3, Troy Apke had 3, Josh Norman and Quinn Dunbar all had 3. So I'm not sure how the tweaks we're going to have to make to the cornerback position. We'll see, because I still need to make a decision on Monte Nicholson. Do I want to keep him or move Norman to safety? So here's what we're going to do. The first thing with this re-signing phase is I'm going to franchise tag Brandon Sheriff. I don't think I can afford to lose him. He was a Pro Bowler. I believe an All-Pro. I'm not sure how to even look at that screen. I think I can't anymore. But let's franchise tag Brandon Sheriff. It's going to be a 1-year, $7.6 million deal for him, and he's going to get tagged. So he does stay on the squad. I don't want him to hit free agency. The next player we're really going to re-sign, and this may be a guy that you guys didn't see much of, but it's Connor Steffens. And remember, he had a couple of blocked field goals during last season, but I definitely want to lock him up. We're going to give him a 2-year deal. He's 23 years old. He was one of our undrafted free agents. Let's see if he accepts this offer. Okay, so yeah, the offer is perfect. So he's locked up here. So we have that other corner because we don't know what we're going to do with Josh Norman. We might end up moving him to free safety. The next guy, Mike Perkins, and he's going to probably be a starter this season unless I get a better receiver here. But he wants a 2-year, $2.5 million salary with a 1.33 signing bonus. Remember, we're not going to touch that. But at 5'9", I like him as kind of like another slot guy. He's really small, but let's just look at his ratings really quick. I just want to show you guys how good he is. Spectacular catch at 88, catching traffic at 77, catching at 82. We're going to let Josh Doctson walk, and who knows, we might meet up with him later. I'm not sure, but we're going to let him walk. We're going to rely on a bunch of younger guys, and Josh Doctson in real life isn't really doing too much with the Redskins, so we are going to let him walk, but we are going to lock up Mike Perkins. So there we go. We got 2 of our young guys, both 23 years old. But Chris Thompson, at the age of 29, he's asking for a 4-year deal. I just don't think I can do that at 89 speed. He's really good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's really, really good. He was a big weapon for us. But, you know, he was actually hurt as well for a little bit of the year. I think he's a fan favorite. I'm going to try to keep him on a 1-year deal. Let's see if he accepts it. And, oh, so he does not. So he wants that long-term deal for 4 years. So that's going to hurt. I'm not going to go after anybody else here. I would re-sign Alex Brown just for insurance, but I'm pretty sure he's not going to get signed anywhere else. So I can probably pick him up for cheaper than 1.17. But those are going to be the only moves we try to make as we get 1 denial and 2 accepting offers. So let's take a look at the regression here for our roster. Trent Williams goes down 25 points, and he pretty much goes down in everything. Ryan Kerrigan goes down 17, he's at 82 overall. Jordan Reed goes down 39, as he's now 91 overall. Morgan Moses goes down a little bit. Josh Norman goes down quite a bit, and his speed actually goes down to 85. So now he's a slower guy, so he's definitely going to have to be moved to free safety for sure. DJ Swearinger, aging like fine wine. Look at him, only 2 points gone down. And then Zach Brown and Alex Smith. Alex Smith hasn't regressed much, and then Zach Brown regresses a little bit, but not too significant. So going into the offseason, I do want to just look at our roster, see where we need guys at. And looking at Alex Smith in this contract, that's going to be hard to move, but we're going to try to do it. We're going to try to go with the youth movement at quarterback, and we got to start by getting rid of some older guys and getting younger. Alex Smith, I don't know if he's really a fan favorite with Washington. I think he's a pretty good quarterback, but I don't think anybody absolutely loves Alex Smith. So let's look at the top free agents this year, starting with Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry's interesting because if you think about it, Derrick Henry is actually having a really, really down year with the Titans in real life this year. So I don't know if Dion Lewis just absolutely just took his spot completely, but he's now a free agent. Devyn McCourty's a free agent. Leonard Williams, Vic Beasley, LaShawn McCoy. No surprise here. He's probably going to be a free agent coming up in real life pretty soon. He might get traded before the deadline. Giovanni Bernard, Jalen Mills, there's Ioannidis, Logan Ryan. I mean, just keep going down the line here. Even Austin Eckler, he's an interesting free agent. He's a really good running back, but I don't think I'm going to sign a free agent running back unless he's, you know, really good. Manuel Sanders is there. There's Chris Thompson. Aqib Talib is there at cornerback, but 34 years old. I don't imagine myself spending money, but just going down, you know, the line here, there's a lot of young guys that are free agents, and we might want to check some out and see if we can get one of these guys. So let's go position by position. Let's see if we can just find somebody. So one position we do need signed is middle linebacker, and looking at the top middle linebackers here, Joe Schobert is there. And another guy I like here that's still young is Deron Lee. So we're going to try to go after Deron Lee. We're going to probably offer him a 2-year contract just to see how it goes. And I don't really know exactly what kind of player he's going to be. And especially with that speed, I think we can work with that. So I'm going through the list of left ends that can possibly replace Matthew Ioannidis here. Vic Beasley is actually there, but you see the deal that he's looking for, $36 million over 4 years. Definitely not something that we're probably willing to do. But one guy I did settle on here is the veteran Carlos Dunlap, 31 years old. He is star development. Nobody's going after him. And a 2-year deal is, I think that's more than fair for a guy that's been an All-Pro before, and I think I'm going to go after him. So we offer Carlos Dunlap that deal. But, you know, one guy I was looking at here is John Brown, and John Brown is having probably one of the best seasons in the NFL this season, if you think about it. And, you know, where he came from in Arizona, he wasn't regarded as a top receiver, but I think for the Ravens now he's starting to get that, you know, respect as being one of the top receivers in the AFC. Definitely stat-wise this year could be better, but I can use that speed. 91 and on a 2-year deal, $8 million. I don't think that's too bad at all. So let's actually offer him a contract exactly what he's asking for. That's the fair offer. So we are first with him. So we're talking the quarterback position now. Kenan Mayo, I just don't think he's going to be on the team long term. 67 overall. I mean, he's just a decent guy. I drafted him in the 7th round. I just don't think he's got a future with the team. So I am going to release him and put him into free agency. But that opens up a roster spot for the return of Robert Griffin III. So if you look at his ratings here, he would be an awesome backup quarterback, but you know about his days in Washington. But we are bringing him back. We are making amends for all of that bad blood between RG3 and the organization. I mean, it just seemed like, you know, he was getting treated a little unfairly, but he did have a big head. I gotta admit, he had a big head. He thought he was on top of the world, and he kind of got brought back down to earth. But I like a 1-year, $3.4 million deal, and we do get only 40 points from that offer. And it is kind of a low ball offer, but here's the thing. I mean, he's a 30-year-old quarterback at 71 overall. Let's just see what happens with him. So we do end up signing John Brown. RG3 does accept the low ball offer, $3 million. I mean, whatever. And then Carlos Dunlap accepts it. So that's a good sign. I really wanted Dunlap out of any of these guys. I wanted Dunlap the most. So he does accept that offer. So here are the top players available. Just going to go through the first 32 here. I'm just going to go really quick, but I want to at least highlight some guys that I'm interested in. And obviously we do have the last pick, so we're probably not going to be trading up, but it looks like somebody did just go off the board. So looking at where we're going to be at, we're probably like this range here of guys that are going to be on the board. But you know, one guy that I'm like really interested in here is Devyn Bush Jr. out of Michigan. Just look at his combine. I mean, look at him. He's first in the 40. He's got great tackling, great block shedding, everything. It's top 10 as far as rankings there, as well as Mack Wilson. Mack Wilson is just as good as he is ranked in the top 10 in everything as well. So hopefully, you know, one of those guys drop to us. We do have Patti Fisher here, and he's pretty good too. Only 21 years old, 6'4", 240. He's a solid middle linebacker. We do need a linebacker here. We did sign Deron Lee, but we don't know what we want to do there. And then obviously we want to get quarterbacks. So which quarterbacks are going to fall to us? Remember, we do want to highlight Tyree Jackson. He's a guy that I have my eye on. Brian Lewerke is there, but I'm not sure about Lewerke. He's not really, I don't know. When I saw him play, he wasn't too impressive, but I do want to keep my eye on him. And then another quarterback that I want to look at here is Easton Stick. He's a scrambler out of North Dakota State, a small school guy. Reminds me a lot of Carson Wentz just because he did come from a Dakota school. But, you know, one guy I want to get late, one of my favorites here is Tracy Mcsorley. He has B throw power. It's kind of low, kind of like Alex Smith. But, I mean, he's just impressive. I mean, this guy's just impressive. So I do want to keep my eye on him later. So we'll see who does go early on in this draft, as guys have already gone off the board. So looking at who did go off the board, and it's Justin Herbert. So he dropped all the way to our pick. So that is amazing. So let's make this pick because we do have 2 minutes to pick this guy. So let's just look at who's there. So Will Grier and Drew Lock are both still on the board here at the bottom of the first round. Looks like a lot of quarterbacks are actually still here. So maybe we should go after quarterback here. Will Grier is interesting. He's a top quarterback. It looks like he doesn't have much speed there. Drew Lock is interesting as well. Throw power at A. short accuracy at B. But then looking at Jarrett Stidham, he's interesting as well. But I do have my eyes on Tyree Jackson. I do want to get 2 quarterbacks in this draft. So, but let's just look at some other guys. Let's see if there's some other positions that we might need here. Looking at receiver here, Patti Fisher is still there on the board. He's an impressive middle linebacker. He's going to project to go in the middle of the 2nd round. And the way middle linebackers have been going off the board, I just think I might just go after him. Patti Fisher out of Northwestern. And I just like his athleticism as well. He's pretty good. And you know what? Even though I'm kind of reaching here a little bit just because I know that these quarterbacks are still on the board, I can get some late round quarterbacks. So let's go with Patti Fisher. So he does come up as the #1 true talent in overall on the board. And I think that might be broken, actually. You know what? I think that might be broken. I noticed that with Madden before. But look at his ratings. He does come in here at 82 speed, 83 block shed, 86 tackle, 87 pursuit, and 69 play rec, and 73 awareness. So this looks like it's a pretty good pick because he's got quick development as well. And he's going to be our middle linebacker of the future. So now at our 2nd pick, this is interesting because look at Will Grier and Drew Lock. They both dropped down here. So did Jarrett Stidham. So they made it to the bottom of the 2nd round. So I'm thinking, you know, now that we're at the 2nd round, I can take a chance on one of these guys. And I don't think it's really taking a chance. I think that these guys just dropped to us. So looking at Drew Lock, he's interesting. So 6'3", 222. Will Grier, 6'1". I mean, this is a tough decision. I think Drew Lock is probably a little better. He's a mid-1st round talent, but I like Jarrett Stidham. I gotta admit, I really them Jarrett Stidham out of Auburn. He's really athletic. I like what he does at the quarterback position. He has an accurate arm, and I think that's what separates him a little more than the other two. He has an accurate arm. So I'm actually going to go with Jarrett Stidham here, and this is not a guarantee that he will be our starting quarterback, but I like this pick here at the bottom of the 1st round, at the bottom of the 2nd round. And look at this. He comes in at 73 overall, 89 throw power, 78 accuracy. I think what did him over more than the other two is that he had decent speed at 84 speed. I like that, and he has good accuracy. So let's go to our next pick. Well, let's look at receiver. Let's see who's still on the board. So Marquise Brown is on the board. He's an interesting guy. 5'11", 22 years old. He's a quick guy. 20-yard shuttle is really, really fast. JJ Arcega-Whiteside is still there as well. But I do like him as just another body on the field. So let's go with him. So he is 73 overall. Another 73 overall guy. What's up with this? 73 overall, 94 speed, 95 acceleration. So there's our speed guy. So we have another speed guy that can probably fill in when Paul Richardson does get hurt. And I like this pick a lot. He has the run after catch trait, and I think he's just an elusive guy. And maybe he's a guy we can use on kick return and punt return because, you know, Jamison Crowder, I don't want to really get him hurt. He's way too valuable to our team now, and I need to get him on the field as much as possible. So we're actually going to go with Tyree Jackson. So 2 quarterbacks taken, and there's a chance that we still actually could trade away one of these guys. And Tyree Jackson comes in at 69 overall, but quick development. So that is the main difference between him and Jarrett Stidham. And he actually ran a faster 40 than Jarrett Stidham, I believe, but he ends up being slower. That's kind of interesting, but I like Tyree Jackson. I mean, he's a big guy, quick development. So we're going to actually get a chance to develop this guy. So now we made it to the 5th round, and this is a homer pick. This is definitely a homer pick. And if you are a fan of the Redskins, you're probably maybe a fan of Maryland, the University of Maryland football. But look at Ty Johnson. I mean, he's here. He's the Maryland running back coming out of the University of Maryland, like I said. But he's solid. 4.45 in the 40. We did not scout him at all, so we don't know exactly what his top skills are. But I just like him right now in the 5th round. I think he's a guy that can help us out in the passing game. So he does come in at 68 overall. 22 years old, and I think that he's going to be pretty good. If you look at his ratings here, 82 break tackle, 92 speed, 94 acceleration. I think his catching ability can use a little bit of work, but it's something I can work with. I'm not too mad at it there. So believe it or not, we only had 6 picks in this draft. Let's just look at our drafted guys that we drafted. Jarrett Stidham we drafted. Patti Fisher, who we actually, he was a really good pick in my opinion. 73 overall with quick development. Tyree Jackson had quick development as well. So a few guys actually had quick development, and I think we had a decent draft here. So what I'm going to do is draft the best available offensive lineman. So this guy's 23. Looks like he's pretty agile from Minnesota. This guy's 23 as well. And then here's a center, EJ Kaufman. Oh, he's pretty athletic as well. So I actually might go with this EJ Kaufman guy. Let's just keep going down. These guys are all here, and these are all offensive linemen. But I think I might go with EJ Kaufman. He is 24 though. Let me just go down to Vanderbilt here. He's 21, so he could actually develop at a faster clip here. So you know what? I'm just going based off of nothing here. Let's just go with him. All the combine grades are all the same. Oh, so he ends up being 71 overall with quick development. Wow. So let's just take a look at that guy. So let's go to draft recap. Let's just look at this draft pick that we had. So let me just go back to him. Joey Wilds. Wow. So we steal one here. 71 overall, quick development, 21 years old, and we found a gem. Pass block power at 82, pass block at 80, 82 strength. That's pretty good for our last pick there. So wow, I'm surprised. We kind of got lucky there. So looking at the rest of the picks here in the first round, remember this is the OSFX draft class, so it is kind of a spoiler here. So if you're looking at the top picks, Jonah Williams, left tackle out of Alabama, he's 78 overall, and he is star development right away. Ed Oliver, he's probably, I think he might be the next big thing in the NFL. He is a defensive tackle, superstar trait already. I imagine that Nick Bosa is as well. Superstar trait, 21 years old. He's going to be good. Raekwon Davis at defensive tackle. Let's look at him. What is he? So he is star development as well. Devin White, right outside linebacker. He is star development as well. Just looking at all these guys. Let's look at Devyn Bush, because that was a guy that I was looking at. And yeah, he's superstar. Let's just look at his ratings. 87 speed. Ooh, he looks actually pretty good in that blue there with the Colts. But just looking at the other top guys, just going down the line, all these guys are rated pretty good. As let's see who's the top one. Is there a high overall guy late? So looks like Noah Fant, 79 overall as a tight end. He's actually gonna be pretty good, but he went to the Giants. I'm pretty interested in why the Giants decided to draft him, since they do have Evan Ingram. But let's just see if there's any high overall guys if we keep going down the line here. I don't really see anybody that's too high overall. Here's a 75 guy here in the second round, Bryce Love. So he's 94 speed. He goes to the Rams, so that's gonna be an interesting 1-2 punch with Gurley. But yeah, that's the top of the class. So after the draft, we do end up picking up a rookie, undrafted free agent, 6'4", 24 years old, out of Stanford, Dwayne Cummings. He's 80 speed. I want to develop him a little bit, see what he does. And another undrafted tight end here, Cedric Hartman out of Louisville. He comes in at 23 years old, but look, he's actually a quick development guy. 23, he's 6'8", 236. So he's interesting. I want to see what I can turn him into as well. So we're going to sign him to the squad. So I did want to show you guys something interesting here. Chris Thompson actually made it through free agency without getting signed. So if we do want to go the route of re-signing him, we might have that opportunity in the preseason to go back and sign him. So I just want to keep that in the back of my mind here as we move forward. So another undrafted guy we do end up signing here is a 74 overall, Richard Paxson, a guard, pass blocking at 83, 84 strength, 81 pass block finesse. And he's going to be, he might compete for a starting job right away. So we do kind of want to work out a trade here. I was talking about it earlier in the video. A couple of trades we do want to work out is getting rid of Alex Smith. And there's a reason, because I want to go with the youth movement on our offense. And I want to see what I can get for him. So a team that, actually the only team that has a high interest in Alex Smith, you see the green there, are the Dolphins. And this is a team that hasn't won much. And if you have a quarterback, you have a chance. That's the kind of mantra in the NFL. And they've never really had a quarterback that can take them over the top. And Alex Smith, He's got a Super Bowl ring now. I mean, he can do it. So let's just see if they would give up Bobby McCain and a 4th round pick for Alex Smith. We're going to try different offers, and we'll see what we can get. So we do end up working out a deal here, shipping off Alex Smith, and we trade we get Tony Lippett back, a 78 overall corner. We did need a cornerback. We did get Day back, and we had to kind of just throw Day in there to make the salaries work. And then we get a 4th round draft pick as well. And the reason why I went for a 4th rounder, they didn't accept a 2nd or 3rd. Definitely not. That really won't be realistic to get a 1st. Maybe it would. But, I think this is a good trade because we did need a cornerback, especially since Josh Norman moved over to free safety. So the next guy we are going to ship out is going to be Monte Nicholson. So actually we ship him out to the New England Patriots. So the New England Patriots, they are strapped. I mean, they are loaded with cap room. They have $40 million in cap. And like I said, we moved Josh Norman to free safety, and it kind of opened up a spot to move Monte Nicholson, 24 years old, and we get a 2nd round pick back. So that is pretty good, and I think it's a realistic trade because the Patriots have been known to trade high picks for guys that are, proven, and Monte Nicholson at 81 overall has a lot of room to grow, so we make that trade. So we do end up trading one of our running backs, but it's not who you think. It's actually Samaje Perine, and he had that huge injury, but he's healthy coming into this next season. And the Oakland Raiders actually drafted Tracy Mcsorley. And remember, I said that I wanted him as a developmental quarterback, but you'll see why I wanted him. And we ended up trading Deron Lee, even though we just signed him. He didn't have a big contract. I believe it was just 1 year, so not a big tie to him. But he ends up going in this trade, and we get back Trace Mcsorley and a 4th round pick, and they actually snagged him in the 7th round. But let's look at Trace Mcsorley. There's a reason why I went after him. So let's check out our QBs now because we have too many. We have 5 on our roster, but obviously we're going to cut that down. But let's look at Trace Mcsorley. He is a quick development, 23 years old, 6 foot. I just like this guy out of Penn State. I want to see him compete for a job. And like I said, I'm not sold on any one of these quarterbacks as our starting quarterback. And we signed RG3 as kind of like the veteran backup. And I want to see what I can get out of him. But Jarrett Stidham, I mean, I'm not so sure he's going to be the starter. But I like Tyree Jackson a lot. I like him more than anybody else. But, don't give up on Trace Mcsorley now. I mean, he might have the opportunity to compete here in preseason for at least a backup job or at least a 3rd string, and maybe even, I don't know. I mean, crazier things have happened. And then Ricardo Brukowski, I think he's just not going to make the squad. So I'm not even going to waste him even stealing any playing time away from anybody. He's going to be cut, and that's going to be our roster going into this season. So let's check it out. So we end up keeping Darius Geis, but he is not going to be the starter. Wayne Gallman has proven that he's the starter on this team. He's going to start. Darius Geis is going to be the backup, and then Ty Johnson is actually going to be our 3rd down running back now. Coming out of Maryland, I like what he has as far as speed. Looking at receiver, Paul Richardson, gonna once again be the number 1 receiver, but if he can't stay healthy, I don't know what he's going to do because John Brown is lurking. Mike Perkins is going to be in the slot a lot this year, and the rookie Marquise Brown is going to be gunning for playing time with that 94 speed, 95 acceleration if Paul Richardson cannot be hurt. And Marquise Brown is going to be our kickoff and punt returner, so he's going to be a dangerous weapon for us. So looking at tight end, a lot of young guys here. Jeremy Sprinkle is going to probably have to compete for his spot a little bit as he didn't get in too much last year, but he has 2 big rookies behind him in Dwayne Cummings and also Hartman. So this tight end group is going to be competitive as well in the preseason. Looking at left tackle, Trent Williams, no surprise there. Joey Wilds is going to be at left guard. Remember, we drafted him in the 7th round. I like him a lot. But at center, Rory Stair and Roulier are going to be competing. And that is going to be an interesting matchup with also Richard Paxson there. He might even compete at center. We'll see because he's an interesting guy coming out of Memphis as a rookie. Right tackle is going to be Trent Brown. No surprise there. But at left end, we have a new left end, Carlos Dunlap. Let's see what he can do starting now for the Redskins, along with Jonathan Allen at right end. Deron Payne and Tim Settle are going to be at defensive tackle. Left outside linebacker, it's going to be Ryan Kerrigan and Matt Edwards. Matt Edwards is going to be slotted over to left outside linebacker. A lot of pass rushing situations. I'm going to have him in quite a bit. And then at the middle linebacker position, I decided to get rid of Deron Lee so that we can have room for Patti Fisher, because I'm really excited for this guy. I mean, he's going to be a good middle linebacker, rookie, 21 years old, quick development. I like what I see from him. And then JJ Marble, he's definitely going to have to show what he's got. He's going to have to be a leader on this team. And then looking at our secondary, I think these are going to be a top three. Quentin Dunbar, Lippett, who we just traded for, and Fabian Morrow. I mean, this is what it's going to be, along with Connor Steffens. I think these four guys are going to be rotating quite a bit in and out of the lineup, so that's going to be interesting to see. Josh Norman is going to start at free safety now. He is getting older. He has regressed in speed, so I got to move him over to free safety with the second-year player now, Tyshawn Woodley, backing him up. And then at the strong safety position, Troy Apke is actually going to be the starter, but DJ Swearinger is going to be the starter at middle linebacker as well. He's going to be that sub-middle linebacker. And on situations where we have both middle linebackers on the field, DJ Swearinger is going to actually be on the field. So I guess DJ Swearinger is going to be the starter, but I guess the other guy that's going to be next to him as well, pretty much for 90% of the snaps, is going to be Troy Apke along with Josh Norman. So look, our kickers didn't change. Dustin Hopkins is still there, and then Tressway is still our punter. But going into next draft, I mean, we have a lot of draft picks. We only had 6 this draft. We have a lot next draft, so it's going to be interesting. So that's going to do it. We're going to have some preseason action with some position battles coming up next episode. So hit subscribe, hit that like button. It's going to be different. It's going to be different. Along with these sliders, it's going to be a lot more interesting. So stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.